for people, or it just happens
So
to be open?
the only thing that's saved is the first row. So you can sit in.
I think row 3.
Good afternoon. We're going to start in a few minutes, and so there's plenty of seats down front. Don't be bashful if you'd like to join us in front.
It looks like hers. Oh, no, sorry, that's Jim.
I thought so.
I was gonna say, that's Emma's baby.
Mary, I think everybody's here.
Good afternoon and welcome to this celebration of life for Tom Holzbach. I'm Dana Friis-Hansen, Tom's son-in-law, standing in as the officiant for Janet Maykus, who's a pastor and a good friend of the family who's been taken ill. She met with the family several times this week to help shape this celebration, and I'm grateful to depend on her and the original writing for this service. So we'll miss her here, but I'm the understudy and have jumped in. So, on behalf of the Holzbach and Kevorkian families, I welcome you to the celebration of a life well lived. Thank you, Milo Kevorkian, who is a high school senior at the Liberal Arts and Science Academy of AISD, Mary's grandson, and he performed Solace by Scott Joplin. I'd also like to introduce Tom's grandsons, Alex and Andrew, in the front row. Both attended Rice University. Alex is a senior and Andrew a sophomore. And Ying Chao Chang, who is their mother and Tom's daughter-in-law, so we're thrilled to have them here as well. Scott Joplin was one of Tom's favorite composers, and like Joplin, Tom was a man of many interests, a man who forged a unique path, and a man whose contributions will live on long past his days. Raymond Thomas Holzbach, MD, father, grandfather, companion, known to all as Tom, died on January 19th, 2024, with his daughter Ellen and his beloved companion in life and in wanderlust, with Mary Kevorkian at his side. One need not look very far to find the impact of Tom that he made on this world. As a gastroenterologist, Tom authored hundreds of papers and abstracts. He was invited to give lectures around the world, Japan, New Zealand, throughout Europe, and of course in the United States, where he conducted a great deal of research and published extensively through his work with the Cleveland Clinic Foundation. If you need to know how cholesterol crystal nucleation leads to gallstone formation, or anything about biliary sludge, Tom was the one to turn to. Tom's academic accomplishments aside, and his rigorous work ethic might belie his humor and playful side. So, for example, when someone asked him at a cocktail party what kind of doctor he was, Tom would impishly reply, "Pretty mediocre." He also had a bit of showman in him, loving to recite sections of the Canterbury Tales in Middle English. Or Robert Burns' famous poem, you may have heard of this, To a Louse, on seeing one on a lady's bonnet at church. That's one of his greatest from 1786. And that was a spotlight on the human predilection towards pretension. As you know, we might know through the line, "Would some power the gift give us to see ourselves as others see us." So maybe you heard that from Tom. Tom's children, Ellen, Mark, Jim, and his grandsons Alex and Andrew, are accomplished, articulate, kind, and each are supremely marked by their father's influence. One may look at each and see the determination to get things done, while always interested in other peoples, places, and subjects with which they are unfamiliar. A broad, worldly curiosity is a valuable gift for Tom, that Tom gave to his offspring. Tom's wife of 49 years, the mother of his children, Lori Koza, died in 2005. Not long after, Tom moved to Austin, where he could be closer to his children. In 2009, he met the second love of his life. For 15 years, he and Mary shared this love, and almost immediately, they took on the world. Sometimes up to 3 international treks a year, and a few more within the United States. Between travels, they were avid music fans, patrons of the choral ensemble Conspirare, and I know some people in the audience actually maybe last saw Tom at the Christmas concert. I heard that was a wonderful event. You heard Conspirare while we were entering, and so they're very important to Tom and to Mary. They also attended the symphony, opera, and other musical events. And Tom never grew tired of researching and publishing about his ancestry, sharing with Holzbachs around the world what he called the Big Blue Book, which is out on the table there, where he chronicled the various Holzbach's family as far back as he could find. Tom was intelligent, committed, funny, intense, bristly, romantic, and true to his word. He was a good man, father, grandfather, and companion. In her poem, The Summer Day, Mary Oliver breaks the third wall as she observes nature around her, and she asks the reader, "Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" I believe if we had asked this question of Tom, he would have said, in the words collected by Robert Burns, "And there's a hand my trusted fear, and gees o' hand o' thine, and we'll take a right God willie walked for old lang syne." So that's the original way that he would say it. And it refers to the good old days and seizing the memories. Tom's last days were spent in hospice here at Westminster on the skilled care wing, surrounded by family, caregivers, and a few friends. One afternoon, we were blessed to have Martha Pinto, our good friend of ours, bring her guitar and sing some songs, including the American folk and gospel song, Wayfaring Stranger. Tom listened quietly, and at its end, he suddenly raised up his arms and clapped his hands. It was a magical moment for us all. So we have invited Martha and her husband, Jamie Kinscherff, to play this wonderful song for all of you.
I'm
That was wonderful. Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Danny and Martha. Shortly after Tom passed, Mark and I had a casual conversation with one of Tom's caregivers, who reminded us of something we've all heard before. Death is part of life, but memories allow us to forever carry. Memories will allow us to forever carry our loved ones with us. At this time, Tom's loved ones will each introduce themselves and share some stories, reflections, and thoughts.
Okay, it works. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Well, now I gotta put it back on. Anyhow. Hi, I am Tom's daughter, Ellen Holbrook. I live in Berkeley, California, and I'm really glad to be here. I'm the firstborn, so I get to go first, right? My dad, Tom Holzbach, was quite a character. He was always himself, never a people pleaser. He liked people, and especially those who accepted him just the way he was. He might bend your ear, but he was happy to hear your stories too. He was honest, and he had integrity. If he was angry, you were going to know it. And if he was happy and content, you would know that too. And I can definitely see parts of him in myself and my brothers. We all stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and my dad's ancestors, like many of yours, were immigrants from faraway places who came to America to escape poverty and seek a better life. Dad was really interested in finding out where his family came from and had a great curiosity about all of the countries and cultures of the world. He passed down these interests to all of his children. So now I'm going to have audience participation. You get a pop quiz. You got to, yell out the answers, okay? What are the 4 main countries that my father's ancestors came from?
Italy. Germany.
Germany is one.
Italy.
Italy, that's not my father's side.
Oh, that's my mother.
That's my mother's side. Ireland. There's 2 more.
England.
Sort of England.
Scotland.
Not Scotland. Wales, okay? And there's 1 more.
Scotland.
No.
Ireland.
No.
Switzerland.
Continental.
Yeah, someplace in Europe.
Someplace in Europe.
Switzerland.
Not Switzerland.
France.
France! Ding, ding, ding. Okay, you got 4 countries. Great. All right. So my dad was always interested in history and current events, and he read a lot of newspapers and The Economist, and his shelves were full of history books. He knew a lot about a lot of things, and I know you know that, and he tried to tell you all about it. And he placed a high value on learning and getting a good education, which he passed on to all of his children. So, another pop question. Where did my father go to college for his undergraduate degree?
UT.
Not
Cleveland?
UT.
Cleveland? Ohio?
Not in Cleveland, Ohio.
Harvard.
I know, come on.
No.
You guys know already. So all right, he went to
Georgetown.
MIT?
You said it, yes, somebody did. Georgetown University, Washington, D.C. Okay, and bonus question, where do you go to medical school?
No.
Ohio.
Case Western Reserve in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, very good. I have a lot of great memories from growing up, and there are some great photos and home movies from when my brother Mark and I were babies at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. And my dad was serving there as a medical officer in the Air Force. And I loved being able to say that I was born in Idaho. I mean, not too many people can say that, so thanks, Dad.
Right.
And then when I was a little older, we moved to Cleveland, Ohio, where we grew up with great schools and great parks and great cultural institutions. Mom and Dad encouraged our creativity and allowed us to participate in music, theater, art, dance, filmmaking, and photography. At the family dinner table, we loved telling jokes, bad jokes, stupid jokes, including knock-knock jokes, and repeating comedy sketches from Monty Python and Firesign Theater. It was totally okay to be silly. And Dad would always quiz us on the names of capital cities of various states and countries. So last pop quiz question, what's the capital of Montana?
Helena.
Guys, that was the first time people got it right on the first try. So, I'm sorry. Okay, bonus question. What's the capital of Manitoba? Canada.
Regina?
I think it's Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Okay, I don't know. Okay. I did look it up. Okay. We did a lot of family road trips in our station wagon, you know, the kinds that have the faux wood paneling.
We have that too.
We went on the Ohio and Indiana turnpikes between Cleveland and Chicago to see my cousins and relatives there.
Who are here?
Who are here today. Two of my cousins from Chicago are here today. And we also did road trips to Washington, D.C., Gettysburg, and I think we also drove all the way to Walt Disney World in Florida. I'm not sure. But I know I was both excited and terrified because my dad wasn't the safest driver. But we are all here, and I'm still alive. So, because of my dad's award from the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, the whole family got to live together in Heidelberg, Germany for several months. And after my dad and family left and went back to the US, I was able to stay on as a student and travel and work in Germany. And because of that, I was able to become fluent in German and travel all over Europe as a college student. So, thank you, Dad. You know, later on in life, my dad moved to Austin and met Mary, and our family grew to include the Kevorkian clan, who are now as close to us as any cousins could be. After 15 years of family gatherings and trips together, we are family, and I know that that will continue long after my dad's passing. And we can all agree that my dad hit the jackpot when he met Mary, when he found Mary. She was not only my dad's angel, but ours as well. We love you, Mary, and we want to keep you. And some of the best things that my father and mother ever gave me were my two younger brothers, Mark and Jim. I couldn't have asked for better people and partners in crime who are always there for me and for each other. Together we've had a lot of great adventures. All of these experiences were made possible in large part because of my father and helped to inform our views about the world and all of its possibilities. It has given us a lot more to think about when choosing what we want to do with this one short, precious life we all have. I'm still trying to figure it out, Dad, but I'm so grateful that you always said to me that I could be whatever I wanted to be. My dad's 94 years were chock full of interesting people, places, and things that he was always able to share with all of us. I love you very much, Dad, and I thank you for opening up the world to me and for bringing me all these wonderful people that I am blessed to call my family. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. Oh, it's on. I'm the tech whiz of the family. All right. Let's see if this works. If you haven't met me before, my name's Mark Holzbach. I'm next in line after Ellen. Ellen was born in 57. I was born in 58. Jim is the third, born in 69. 67. And here we are. It was 1978, and our family decided to move to Heidelberg, Germany for a year. Dad had been offered a prestigious research opportunity paid for the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. And in case you didn't hear of him before, Alexander von Humboldt was a pioneering early 19th century German naturalist and explorer, and he was well known for his holistic approach to understanding the natural world. Really suitable historical figure, along with Scott Joplin, who I think we all would like to emulate. 1978 was a really remarkable and exciting adventure for our family. It was the year that defined our family. The year that helped us to form our identities as European Americans, adventurers, travelers, and worldly people. Living abroad as a family and spending so much time together, we learned a lot more about each other than if we had stayed home in the States. Ellen and I, being in our early 20s, it's very likely we would have gone our separate ways as young adults not living at home. She was at Northwestern University in Chicago, and I was at Middlebury College in Vermont. Being together in a foreign country, we also individually looked inside our hearts and minds and learned more about our own selves than if we had stayed at home in the States. For example, it was that year abroad, living with my family, that I was able to fully realize and come to terms with being gay. Here's the cover of the Holzbach Family History Blue Book. That was Dad's labor of love starting in earnest in 1978. And his work continued on for about 20 years when he finally finished the book. In our spare time, we would sometimes drive around the countryside related to what we already knew about our family history, and we would randomly stop in the towns and villages and farmhouses to ask questions. At one farmhouse, the people were named Shepherd, a name that had appeared in Dad's history research. We discovered we had living relatives. They were friendly, and using our halting German, we met with them in their house over coffee and cake. That was such a thrill for me. Looking back now, I realize that this kind of adventuring, going to places where you may not speak the language, know the customs, or fit in perfectly. In other words, venturing out, taking risks, and starring in your own movie was really part of my DNA. Back home in Ohio, in our spare time, we'd also drive around and look up our ancestors' hometowns and cemeteries. It was great fun to have our own family history as a personal lens for travel, exploration, and discovery. Dad really loved history. In addition to medicine, history was a true calling for him. He had developed great general research skills through his education and work experience. It's amazing what he learned about our family through his research, and a wonderful legacy for our family. I put all his family tree research into Ancestry.com to make it available and accessible. About 30 years later, Dad moved to Austin, and we would spend our spare time driving around and looking at retirement communities to consider as a possibility for Dad's future residence. I remember he had often made astute observations about the residents and how lively they seemed or not. After a tour and over lunch, I remember Dad looking at me with concern, and he said, "Are you trying to put me away?" This reminded me that in his generation, there weren't continuing care retirement communities that allowed residents to be as independent as they wished. Fortunately, in time, we got Dad on the waiting list here at Westminster, and he and Mary got to move in together. Here's Dad on a hard hat tour of their Westminster apartment, where he ended up living for over a decade. If you've been to Dad and Mary's apartment, you may have seen Dad's Alexander von Humboldt Award. We have it here, the memorial on the table in the back. Here's Dad receiving that award. I think it was among his proudest moments. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, Dad displayed it proudly in his office at the Cleveland Clinic. I think Dad was very proud of his relationship with Mary and of their many world-spanning adventures, like this one at the McDonald Observatory in West Texas. Their Westminster neighbor, Joan Smith, was there with us. And this adventure at a lighthouse in Wisconsin. And watching a live lobster being measured aboard a lobster boat in Maine. For a while, Dad was very proud of his learning cooking skills. He delighted in making bacon and eggs for breakfast for himself and any visiting family members. Here he is with his parents and my mother attending his sister's double wedding in Ohio in 1957. At the end, you'll see him playing the trombone. There he is. He loved both making and listening to music. Here with Mary on the piano, grandson Alex on drums, and grandson Andrew on the cello. It's evident how at home he felt improvising. Here we posed with a mariachi band after their musical performance at the Planted Kyle, our place south of Austin. Notice he's always wearing his trademark suspenders in these recent photos. Here he's wearing suspenders while giving one of his trademark toasts in Italian, tante belle cose, so many beautiful things. Here he's wearing suspenders while carving our Thanksgiving turkey. Wearing rainbow suspenders, however, was his most iconic look. Many of you know he often wore these here at Westminster. I like to think that it may have also been a show of rainbow pride support for his gay son and son-in-law. Gelato was a delight that he shared with every member of the family, at home and traveling abroad. Of course, the best gelato is in Italy. His sense of humor is something we all inherited. Here we are in Munich. The fake sleeping photo genre spans generations. There he is with his dad. Here we are in Maine, Little Diamond Island. Maybe he's just pretending. And Dad has the last word.
A lot of fun, very enjoyable, and I enjoyed everybody's company. I want to thank you all for showing up and being the likable person that you are.
Okay, that concludes my presentation.
Hello? Yep. So I'm Jim Holzbach. And I'm going to sit here. Mary and I both are going to sit in our seats. Father. Everyone has one. It's a role that has a bit less definition than mother, but a father's role is undeniably important. My father, Tom Holzbach, had a long, rich, and rewarding life. He was lucky. Lucky to have met my mom, and later in life, at age 80, my second mom, Milo Kevorkian. I was the youngest of three, the third spot on the childhood team, one which left me home alone, as in the movie of that name, with my parents at the age of 9. But while I lost my siblings to their early adulthood adventures, I did get to keep my mother and my father. It's also around that time, as a pre-tween, that I began to move towards recognizing the importance of that my father played in my evolving boyhood. Some of my favorite memories of my father really began between 6 to 10 years of age. That was the time for me when there was emerging understanding of the importance my father had upon my life. In the eyes of a 6, 7, 8, or 9-year-old, a father can do no wrong. Like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, the idealized father represents manhood and Santa Claus wrapped into one singular human man. Dad was pretty self-assured. He knew what he wanted. He was undoubtedly smart, incredibly capable in his calling, and although he could be aloof at times, you knew he was always in your corner and ready to be there whenever you needed him. He was dependable, and he loved you without question. As a child, I was the baby coming so late in the birth order. My dad was already 38 years old when I emerged perhaps accidentally, or maybe accidentally on purpose. My dad knew the drill and could be counted on to always respond when little Jimmy called out good night to everyone. He often would tuck me in, and to my great delight, I would ask him during snowstorms in Cleveland if he could tell me about how it was so cold and snowy outside, and how the wind was blowing so hard, and the snow was packing against the walls and windows and the roof of our home, but I was warm and snug and in my bed, and I should sleep. He taught me the joy of reading. I was tricked into reading the Cleveland Plain Dealer around age 8 or 9, not just for the funnies, but so that I could keep up with all the Cleveland sports teams on a daily basis. That meant that I would have to go get the newspaper out by the road every day and trump through the snow. Dad, you were wise and made me your sports partner in crime for a decade and more, going to see the Cleveland Indians, Cavaliers, and Cleveland Browns games with you regularly. This was one of the keys to our father and son friendship. We also watched lots of TV together. Whether that was good or bad, I don't know, but my father had a soft spot for Bond, James Bond, and could be called upon to join me for any rerun of On Her Majesty's Secret Service or To Russia with Love. This included funny spy movies as well, like The Pink Panther series with Inspector Clouseau. Which brings me to 1985. I'm 15 years old, my dad is 53. Dad and I went on a ski trip together to Stade, Switzerland, as it was actually cheaper that year to ski in Switzerland than Colorado due to favorable international exchange rates. Well, I didn't see Inspector Clouseau in the hotel lobby in Stade, where one of the Pink Panther was filmed. My dad and I did coincidentally meet and befriend a Swiss mercenary at that hotel, who later helped introduce us to Roger Moore. Yes, 007, at the top of a Swiss chalet. On that trip, Dad and I, our father and I, were hosted on an excursion by the hotel owner. He invited us with a small group of 5 guests on a ski Ausflug, which is an outdoor, outside trip across unmarked black diamonds and waist-deep powder. 4 hours later, Dad and I were both toast. But we stuck together the whole time. It wasn't the most fun I ever had, but we lived that moment with one another. We made sure we watched after each other, as it was clear the owner wasn't going to wait for anyone. Each time we reached him, the hotel owner, Ausflug leader, would cry out, "Attacca, attacca!" And he would start that next bite down the mountain. So he wasn't looking after us, we had to look after ourselves. And how are you doing? Will you be okay? We asked that ourselves again and again. One of those most memorable of mornings. Father took his obligations seriously. When he set out to do something, he'd do it. He was always a man to be reckoned with. Perhaps that was born of his start as a baby of the Depression era. His parents were stern disciplinarians. He had lots to rebel against to become as strong-willed as he was to become. I'm grateful for my father and for his determination in facing life's challenges along his journey of becoming, and I will always fondly remember his lifelong joy of learning. I was given luxuries and freedoms he'd only dreamed of. Perhaps I was one of his research experiments. I see him with his test tubes and his prairie dogs, thinking about what his test was for child number 3. Maybe perhaps something different. Maybe perhaps something different is better. I've certainly taken my time to become the man that I've become. I have a lot to be thankful for from my father, and I find no shame in him. I would fight for him as I know he would fight for me. I hope you can find love for all of your fathers too. They all deserve a special place in our hearts, right next to the importance we all place in our mothers. Thank you, Father, and hasta la vista.
Tom and I met 15 years ago in LAMP, which is one of the Ollie programs. Floyd Brandt had recommended that he join SAGE, but 15 years ago, SAGE was full. There were no openings. The Ollie programs would all like to have that problem today. So since there was no space in LAMP, in SAGE that year, he joined LAMP, and I had been in LAMP about 12 years. And so that's where we met. So we met at LAMP, and one day he said, would you like to go to lunch? And so I said, sure, I'd be happy to go to lunch. So I met him downtown, and so we had lunch, and then he said, would you like to see my condo? And I said, sure, I'll come and see your condo. So we went up, he showed me the Hans Ernig prints and the different things he had in the condo, and we talked for a while. And then he said, would you like to go to Australia? And I said, well, I haven't been to Australia. It sounds like a good plan. So that was the beginning of 12 years. We've been together 15 years, but for 12 years we traveled, as you've seen our books, although we have traveled extensively, and we enjoyed all of those trips. Some were with Dana and Mark. They planned trips for us to Spain and to what's the Mexican? I can never say it.
San Miguel de Allende.
Yeah, San Miguel de Allende. I really enjoyed that trip. And then we did. We took the family to Italy, and we took the family to Germany, and we had wonderful trips all over the world. It was just really. But the Australia trip was the beginning of all of that for us. So the other thing was, in those years after we first met, whenever I would come to the condo to see him, there was always a dozen roses waiting for me at the top of the stairs. So that was how we started, and we had a wonderful 15 years. We really enjoyed being together, and we enjoyed the families. So I also, I've talked about the travels. And Dana already mentioned his love of literature. And Tom would often recite those to me. And he loved the Gettysburg Address. He could recite the whole thing. Even to the end of his life, he never lost the memory of the literature that he loved and the music that he loved. It was still very much a part of his life. And he was very, it was there. And also his German. When we were on a trip, one year I drove from San Francisco to Tom and I drove from San Francisco to San Diego. And when we were at Pacific, when we were on the Monterey Peninsula, we met some young people from Germany. And Tom started right in. We had a long conversation with these young people from Germany. So he was still able to carry on a pretty good conversation in German up until the end of his life. So his love for music, he shared that with me. We went to, as Dana's already mentioned, we went to the opera, the chamber music, the symphony, and Hans Berger, though, was his greatest love. He loved to hear the sound of those voices. So during his last 3 years of his life, Tom dealt with many issues that were very difficult. He was losing his vision, he was losing his hearing, so communication with the world was very limited to him during those 3 years. But he still carried on, and we went to the LBJ lectures, we went to Sage. We both got in, he got into Sage the next year, and then I had to wait another year. But then we've been in Sage for more than 10 years now. So he enjoyed those, and it was interesting to me, because although he was having issues with remembering other things that were current, he always remembered the lectures, and we would talk about them at dinner that night, and he remembered the things that had been talked about that day, and I thought that was quite remarkable and very interesting, how the mind works. What do you retain and what don't you? So I thought that was good. So I want to say how much I appreciate his family. They've been so welcoming to me and included me and my family. And so I really cherish the fact that I'm part of that family now. And I want to thank all of you. Oh, and I want to say that the family, Ellen came about 3 weeks ago, something like that. Ellen's been here the whole time. And Mark and Ellen and Jim are the ones that put together this whole program. I have been just an interested and appreciative bystander. They are the ones that have put together everything that's happened here today, and I'm very grateful to them for that. And I really appreciate all of you who have come today to honor Tom and to support and comfort me and the family. I value all of your friendships, and I'm very grateful for your presence here today.
So at this time, we'd like to invite those who wish to share a memory or two of Tom. So please raise your hand if you'd like to say a few things, and we'll bring the microphone to you. We know some of you are experienced orators, which is wonderful, but I'm not. But let's be certain to keep your memories to a minute or two. And if they do get a little far-ranging, it's going to be my responsibility to ask you to consider sharing more with others during the reception. So, would anyone like to say a word or two? It's kind of last minute, but you just raise your hand and we'll come to you.
Then I'll be very brief. We got to know you guys and Tom and Mary before we all moved here. And one of the things I remember, we were neighbors for about 10 years on the same floor here. And I will always miss having him greet me and say goodbye in German.
Thank you, Max. Okay, we'll get faster to the reception. But as we thank you, thanks Max, and I hope that this has inspired good memories of Tom and of Mary, and also of your own families. So as we reach the end of this celebration of life for Tom Holzbach, please go now from this place, filled with memories and insights. Live your one live and precious life to the fullest, and take whatever opportunity you have, fueled with the memories that inspire you, to take a right good gulp, as Robert Burns would say, of what lies before you for Auld Lang Syne. So please stay for a moment to hear Milo Kevorkian play Scott Joplin's The Maple Leaf Rag, and let it lift your spirits as it did Tom's. And then join us for a reception afterwards and share some of your favorite memories and enjoy the mementos. Thank you for joining us today in celebration of Tom Holzbach and his life well lived.
They did well. Great. I have it. Oh, I was going to get it.
Okay.
I have the tin and a water. Thanks, Dana.
Here it is.
Thank you.
That was lovely. We all learned so much about your family.
Yeah, thank you. I want to learn how to.
Fine. And I love the way you do your slides. I mean, three totally different styles. No one, and that's just the way it should be. And it's perfect. Clean up here.
That's right.
And the thing we'll all remember is Australia. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like right at the beginning.
You want to go to
Australia?
I appreciate it.
Come see my partner. Oh, how about Australia? I mean, it's just so, and that is your dad. Not wasting any time.
No.
Oh, I loved it.
He was that was
So you hope to carry on.
I know.
We all
I remember when she first came.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about
Right. Well,
excited you were.
I was worried about his CD concern, but he couldn't articulate it. And then I asked him how he
now he's already in, but they didn't want to live so close. Yeah.
He said, I'm not going for a meeting.
Yeah, we did for a while. But we kept the place to go now.
Who's he going to start that? His generation.
So, but what he did was, which he agreed to only because she was all the work was, he did it all. I don't know that. He turned the chair on our friends and I don't. He turned to the So that was the bad. That was what he had. It was the hard lifting.
Great.
He really didn't need that.
And she didn't make him do all this. No, she was easy. And it was sport that made it work.
I know, that's what I was so proud of. I thought, well, thank you for coming. Oh, you went to another one, or you're going to another one?
I just went to
I mean, that's another.
Great Unitarian Church. Only about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah. We're actually
Glad to be here. I always admired you. Always admired you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it really is wonderful. Yeah.
Lovely. Really.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
How was that? Oh, that's all just telling me. I want to get back to your family, like a month, you know, like
Oh, nature is great. Yeah, she also said that she remembers meeting your
Yeah. You all going to college. You just brought more of that in.
Okay, that would be great. Wait, all at the same time? 2, 3 years. That sounds great. She was a sport girl.
Good job.
Oh, thank you. It was not easy, but it's disappointing anyway. You did a great job. There's not a lot to be happy there either. And knowing what we were in the room, it was a big 18 or something.
Good job, Mark.
Thank you.
I'm so glad it all worked out. We did.
That was so nice.
So you can relax.
He's going to have to drive 45 minutes in each. I mean, I think it was.
I'm going to be honest. We saw these chairs here.
Maybe one of the last
Set up to go.
Right, you don't want to, like, when you stop working, just have a just down.
And then also.
At least get some part-time.
It was a surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't expect such a lot.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Are you sticking around? No, I just. Oh, it's on the table. Where the
Sorry,
Thank you. I gotta go. Thank you for coming.
I love your tie.
Oh, thank you.
We'll talk soon.
So we knew we liked the
Right.
Anyway.
That was so beautiful, you guys. It was really lovely.
It was, yeah. Everyone did a great job. And Janet wrote it all and then got sick, so.
Is she all right, or is it okay?
No, yesterday she called a new.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday. It's all a blur.
I'm guessing these days ran all together. It's
Oh, yeah, they do.
yeah.
Anyway, we missed her because she's much more magnetic than I. But
You were wonderful. It was very well done, and it was lovely to learn so much about your family.
yeah, and through different voices.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
So.
Hi, Joan.
Oh.
Did you hear I mentioned your name?
I was going to greet you anyway, but I couldn't escape if you mentioned my name. It was a beautiful program.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
I don't know how you put it together, but I guess you had siblings to argue with.
That's right. That's right.
Sort it out
That's right.
together.
That's right. I'm so glad you got to see it.
Oh, it was remarkable and very touching, the heart. How are you and what are you up to these days?
Well, Dana, my husband, who was just here, retired. He was the one who was the MC. He had a polka dot tie, and he was the one who announced.
Far back.
Oh, okay.
Was he the one who said that he would stand in for the person?
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
Okay, I heard his voice.
Yes. Where did he go? Oh, he's getting some lemonade right now. He's at the lemonade.
Yeah.
So he just retired. That's museum director. Yeah. So he just retired from that position. So he's no longer the director of an institution, which you know what it's like. And he's really glad and really want to be running an institution now.
I never ran an institution.
I know, but
I was busy
you know
in the kitchen.
Okay, but you know.
Feeding the people.
So I was similar to me. So.
But I love museums. That was my mother's work. Her first job out of college was assistant to the curator of prints in Cleveland.
Well, that's where I grew up, Cleveland, Ohio.
This is a far afield, but the church that sponsored my parents' medical mission in China for 25 years was the Church of the Covenant on Euclid Avenue.
Oh, I know the building.
It's a gorgeous, I think, Gothic. Very beautiful. I didn't ever live in Cleveland, but I always felt a connection because they gave my daddy an X-ray machine.
So Dana's grandmother was a teacher in China in 1923.
Really?
She wrote a book in Beijing, but she would.
What's your name?
Her name was Alna, A-L-N-A-H, Alna James. She wrote a book about her whole experiences.
In Beijing? What years was she?
And she was at the Yenqing Women's College.
I know Yenqing.
Yeah.
Yenqing was men and women when I knew it.
It was women's, at least she was in the women's section of it.
I'm sure in the early years it was probably separate. It was a splendid. Yenqing and Harvard had a very close connection.
That's right.
Harvard Yenqing.
That's right. And that was great. That was so wonderful. It was fantastic.
Well, it felt really good.
They played the Wayfaring Stranger.
Oh, beautiful music. I was so far back I didn't recognize your face, but I heard the music.
This is Joan Smith.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Joan. Now, have we met before at the plant?
Pardon?
Have we met before?
Well, you may have met her. You knew her, maybe know of her because of Harlan, her husband, her late husband.
Do you know astronomy in Texas?
I do know astronomy in Texas. You know, I'm not an astronomer, but I'm a avid stargazer.
Yeah. We encourage those.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're all in favor of stargazing and the delight of the universe.
You know what? There's every single night of the year, as long as you can see the stars, there's something wonderful to see up there.
Yeah.
And so was he on staff at UT?
There's a telescope named after him at the McDonald Observatory.
Oh, Okay.
I tried it succinctly a long time in UT
Oh, wow.
and so he hired all the first two
All the first astronomers. That's great.
UT had one or two astronomers in two classes, but they didn't have an astronomy department. Well, what's your field?
You know what? I have spent my life building acoustic guitars, but I have been stargazing.
We've known each other for decades, but, you know,
Wonder.
don't worry, you know.
But it's so far really good.
Oh, absolutely.
So shut up in your politics.
You know what?
My liquor.
Unfortunately, it is political, even though we don't want it. It should be scientific and more about curiosity and wonder.
But my husband used to go to Washington a lot. Do you know Jake?
Yeah, of course. Jake
office. Whenever I got to Washington, he would have a tornado.
Oh, I came in. I did not leave that out on the curb. I walked by. I thought her door was unlocked. Her keys were right there. And I'm hollering. And I'm they were waiting around on the roof. And I thought, no, it's right here. I just walked into her house.
Oh, absolutely. He was a very, very powerful politician.
So I left it on the top of the stairs towards downstairs. But
we are avid supporters of the Dark Sky International. Advocated that we support that organization. They've had support meetings.
So if I could forget what day it is, you can get close to.
It's harder here because
It's much harder here. There's a movement.
This is part of Amy's wife.
I enjoyed it so much. I was way far back, but I could hear it.
Yeah, I guess this
No, not at all. Oh yeah. Dana's grandmother taught in China. Her parents were missionaries. She knows the institution where Dana's grandmother taught. Joan Smith. Joan Smith was the widow of John Smith, who was the first director of the astronomy department. And it's a telescope named after him.
This is my astronomy. Yeah, you need to cherish.
And when we all went, there's some pictures of the Pinto Observatory. We were there with Joan.
I recognize Big Ben as well.
Yeah, I'm still in my car. And I turned, it was before Thanksgiving.
Oh, I love it. Oh, he was wonderful on that.
They were like potatoes.
I never heard that about Jake Pinto. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
You know Joan Smith, right?
Yeah, we've met once before, but I think it's been a while.
She was born in Beijing. Her parents
You have a Beijing connection.
Yes, my grandmother was a teacher in Beijing, and yes.
Thank you. It was really good seeing you, and it was really nice.
Oh, really?
And we'll be in touch. I know that you're very busy. You are born in April.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes. And now we feel like part of the family. It's so good to learn about this.
Yeah, my sister was busy.
You know what? My grandmother landed there in 2023.
It was so nice and so positive and so, I think, in a really nice way.
Sponsored my parents.
Thank you very much.
It's so great to see you. It's been years.
It's been
Well, I have some very fond memories spending time with her decades ago.
Since last century. Wow. So you will be in touch.
Okay.
We will worry.
Oh, okay.
And they felt it was really important
Well, we're still moving around. We're hardly here. So. But we'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they can speak and say,
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I can. My grandmother wrote a book about her, from her memoirs, about that time.
It has some nice images.
And I can lend it. Well, you know what we should do? Well, we'll get you a copy, but you could borrow it. But what we might do is, I'll see if we have copies, and we could give one to the library here.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah.
I don't need to acquire more books.
No.
I'd love to read them.
Well, that's why I said libraries would be good. Yeah.
About Beijing in the 20s.
Yeah.
I was born in 1930. The Chinese part of me is quite open about my old age.
Oh.
The American part of me keeps it quiet.
Right.
Joan was born in China.
No, but it's
she lives
cultural.
Here. She lives on the same hall as Dad and Mary, like across the hall. So this is
Alex, one
my
of Tom's
nephew.
grandson, who's at Rice University.
What was your field at Rice?
Electrical engineering.
Oh, that's a field of the future.
Yeah.
That's a hope.
Yeah. So are you still working at it, or?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going to go to graduate school, most likely. I think I will go into the industry.
But he still has a couple courses to pass. He'll graduate this spring.
Well, I think if you're at Rice, you'll have to take things like music and art and history to balance your electrical studies, right?
You do.
They require.
They do require distribution.
Because
that is what it's still called distribution.
It's still called. The year I met my husband, he had taken so much physics and math and astronomy that when I met him, it was his senior term, he was doing Dan Engel's course on Indian culture.
Oh yeah.
His term
that is
paper,
very.
The term paper was to analyze the inconsistencies in the Bhagavad Gita. This was great preparation for being an astronomer. And he was
This is at Rice too?
No, at Harvard.
At Harvard, okay.
And so he was taking music, some Russian.
Yeah.
So I understand.
That's very common for senior year students to be
what
taking.
What are you doing for distribution?
I'm taking a theater intro to stage combat class.
You have to say it again. I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Theatrical fighting.
So you can analyze the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming from the back to the front.
Well, I'm so happy to meet you, and I would love to read your book.
We'll work on that. Alna James Johnson.
His name is.
I don't remember.
Okay, we'll send it. Does Mark have do you use email?
And Mary.
Well, Mary's across the hall.
Okay, that's fine.
I read on the internet, but I can't pronounce your name. I'm so happy to meet you, and I wish you well.
Thank you. I wish you well as well.
Thank you for being the bearer of the. Sorry, there weren't more people. That's okay. We're going to name possible plays. Very sweet. All those pictures of you all.
Oh yeah, we have many books flying around.
Mark was like,
Lots of there was never a shortage of photos.
Thank you for having us here.
But we wanted the technical one.
Yes. But I remember the first time I met your dad, we went to Great Monasteries, and my parents were there, and Claire was 2 months old, and we all sat and
building relationships.
It's just this such a big. Matt was like, I'm glad you didn't tell that story. That's not a story, kids.
Really, like I remember.
It's a memory, right? But it wasn't. There was no funny bits.
So
I think Dad was trying to impress me.
Probably have to explain to Mark if we could be taking.
Had a laugh together, but it's such a vague. It's 20 years.
I remember.
Yeah. Anyway, we're glad.
I know.
Yes. We we are glad
But
to
then
be able to place a memory almost 20 years.
So, and then back
No, she passed away in 75.
But I like it on a different place.
Oh, yeah.
There was 2 months old.
And then he went back to he was having a fight. He came back anyway. We'll get drunk and we'll tell stories.
Okay, it's coming on. Anyway, I won't fuck you up. Night night. Take care, mister.
Oh, what is Sage? I thought you said
Okay, well, thank you for coming. Oh, Sage is lifelong learning. So, yes. There's a couple of them. There's also Ollie, and there's Lanny. So, yeah. In fact, Mark is giving a talk. He gave a talk to the presidency about Tom and Paul. And so he's going to get that on Monday. Yeah, I guess, but more was more about the last trip that we took. Last.
I can see that.
Oh, they were the plans.
What's your name?
They were the cities.
Yeah, he works at Sherman.
Yep.
I mean, talking about it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I know. It's wonderful. Yeah, we had cousins from Chicago.
So nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah. So I'm sorry we haven't gotten together. I mean, it's like, it's very tight. I hope you
have my chauffeur.
Yeah, on Sunday. I don't know how busy you are, but I'm trying to do it because we haven't. We're doing this multidisciplinary one day activity. I don't know if you said tonight at April 8th. So at the plant, we're doing music, demonstrations, dancing. We're going to have a monument. Do you know about Ames Demetrius? Geography. So yeah, so he's going to do a monument that is a public but a sculpture that is intended and he's developing that. He would be very in terms of narrative site-specific. He has created a parallel university, and his so he tries to find places to build all over the world. Build a site for specific series of objects. I'll send you his list. But sometimes it's a park, sometimes it's this is a light. It's a light pattern. So the sun shines into it and it creates patterns. When the eclipse is happening, it creates very different. So I'll send you info on our
unrelated
Tiny World Tours or upcoming, and it says Solace. So we'd love to have you there. It's Monday. Anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be. Yeah, okay, good. Well, yeah. How are the kids? Oh, good. What did they do with graduate school?
Started already to do
try and make sure that an exit sign there.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Always telling me about what they're doing. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, encourage kids or not, or just take the floor rather than
It's like a diet of margarita, like
And she's still traveling. I mean, she's making me crazy with her travels. I'm so scared to get her in it. You know, I mean, okay. I just learned that last night.
Where is that?
But how many words is that? It's the Liberal Arts and Sciences Academy. Did Claire go there? Is it existing Claire?
Yes, Claire couldn't have gotten it.
Oh, it's
So I went back to
sometimes it's the right time.
All right. Good catch.
Sorry.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to give. I don't know where Mark went, but anyway.
Oh, thank you.
the thing is with that is it's the dosage on each session is the key.
The dosage on each session?
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, well, let's get together soon.
Thank you.
The liver gets over.
What?
Nice thing.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, what a great venue for that.
Oh yeah, that was yes.
We're so lucky.
It's really good.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. See you soon, I hope.
I can email it. It's a bunch of links, so I can email it to you.
How does she spell her name?
It's just my name, I think.
No dots or dashes.
Please say hi to the girls. Are they both going to be? I know Neve's in the show. But
No, Claire's going to be at home. She's quite nice. She's going
what is she doing? She's doing a job.
check on her time. It's elementary and in
Oh, yeah, that place.
That's awesome. She's only 6 feet one of you.
Oh, yeah. I might pop in. I might have to tell her who I am. She probably will. In that context.
But my middle name.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll test her. I'll test her. Yeah. Secret. Okay. See you later.
All my correspondence is Pam Joe.
Pam Joe. Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny.
It's fun when there's like a person that has a nickname for you.
Yes.
And no one else has a nickname for you.
People mangle in good ways that I encourage. Be joyous.
Yeah.
Be joyous and be joyful and all that. And so I encourage them. CIJOY. But I encourage people to make their own versions of. Keep it in the.
I was telling Pam Joe. You're the only one called me Pam
I love that. I love that.
You guys did a great job.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
We're on camera.
Is this?
This is not candid camera either.
This is not a still. This is video.
It probably is.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
You're getting ready.
Well, hopefully he'll edit it and.
Right.
But anyhow, I thought it was great that you were just all this time. You were, in town.
But I know that all of us would have done this, if I wasn't in the building, somebody else would be in the building to take care of it.
Yeah.
No, you did a great job. And you played such an important role in being here throughout that time. We're all thankful for you, including Mary. Yes. It's tough.
I gained a lot of weight.
You did?
All the food.
Because you couldn't go out to do your regular
Yeah, I couldn't do that. The weather was not so good.
No, it's been
And the ice cream was too readily available.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, you could not say no to ice cream.
That's true.
But the food here is always good, so that's another thing. Just everything. Yeah, but
But you're looking really good, by the way. You got a nice haircut.
Chinatown haircut. He lost a lot more weight.
I'm inspired.
You are a lot more active than you are.
Well, I lost weight when I was joined in on Christmas.
Yes, that was really important.
I wasn't hungry, and I'm not sure if it was the COVID or the drug Paxlovid that you take.
Yeah, I saw it on your website. Yeah.
Deborah Hayes here.
Yeah, she dances.
Yes, she does very conceptual dances. What date? It's the 8th of April. Where are you in Japan? Mostly Tokyo. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You've been such wonderful friends. And Mary will do it for years. Yeah.
Pretty busy art night. Thank you.
Oh, we tried out that restaurant. We tried out the restaurant. I think you've been there. Veridad, yeah, Veridad. And it was a little loud. But it was
very hard. So I do have like a laundry list in case people.
I didn't know. I didn't have any alcohol. Yeah. But I did have the bone marrow. That was interesting. You give you these big bones and you scrape out the marrow, put it on a cracker. Yeah, I thought, well, I have to have things that are original and different. Yeah, try it out. Okay. It was expensive, yeah. $100. Was it really? What, did it have gold in 14-karat gold in it?
I'm emphasizing they have flexible gold leaves.
Right.
And they're not digestible, but otherwise.
That's right. The point is, it's not digestible.
Worst case scenario,
It won't kill you.
Oh, yeah.
wherever I get lost.
I'm so glad.
Sorry, I was trying to do an interesting person and I forgot where I was.
No, because you know Austin.
You look familiar. I'm not sure if I've met you before, but you look really familiar. I'm Patty Oliver.
So your first
O-L-W-E-L-L.
But it's pronounced
Family friend, and we've had, she's often been at our Thanksgiving with Tom. So she's been at, she's seen Tom at least once a year, almost for a decade at least or more.
Yeah, I met him before he was with Mary. When you asked for stories, I told Mary, I said, I was going to tell the story where I gave you a ride to the plant when you guys first started dating. They were in the back seat and couldn't keep their hands off.
Ooh, that's a racy story.
I know. Well, she told one. He invited her up to Australia on the first date. That was easy. Yes.
Okay. Yes, now I remember that.
Is that like design thinking or?
So
it's related,
I
but
said
not
to
really.
Dana,
Catch
you guys.
Design thinking.
Is
Thank you for saying hi.
should we look at a calendar now?
Like we do a lot of analysis.
Maybe they didn't. Yeah. Then Mary had
I see you in the
I mean, I don't read time right the book.
No, exactly. And that's kind of what I was lucky enough. I was working on there. I also started this community around people. And what I always found was that
we met
their representation of this
visual arts,
because it's all about
which is
like,
the
the business plan.
MIT.
That's how.
I think we met, but
This is weird.
It would have been 80.
The whole like get an investor, you gotta get an investor. No.
Yeah.
Here's the idea. I made high-end luxury
Yelling. Either that or you're too loud.
Yeah.
Why are you making that noise?
100 hours a week.
I met Mark around that.
And I just do a lot of rich people that have beautiful homes, and they're like, well, can I rent my house? I'm like, I guess. And the guy's like, well, tell them to see this photos. Just take it. Oh my God. And then I had them couldn't see him when I was talking to him. We're still on it. Dad wants to sleep in Mother Grace's house. And I'm like, okay. And we talked to somebody else. Like, oh, can I do it at my house? See? And it was great.
Yeah, the dust hasn't settled though.
But I made a good friend out of Chip Carnes.
Okay, bye-bye.
And so I wanted to do a boutique hotel removal, and I wanted each of the bourbon.
I wanted to say hello before I said goodbye.